All right, so I want to talk about something that's kind of interesting when we're dealing with ACL reconstructions or anybody who suffered an ACL tear. When somebody suffers this type of injury, unfortunately, there's going to be a big difference between the leg that suffered the injury and the one that did not. There's going to be a lot of aspects that get affected. For example, when somebody suffered an ACL tear, there's going to be a loss of motor control, a loss of neuromuscular activation. There's going to be biomechanic deficiencies. So that means that the strength aspect and the movement aspect is going to be affected. And you have to see it in comparison between one leg, the one that got injured, as I said, and the one that did not. A lot of the work you're going to do many times when you're dealing with ACL tears is going to be unilateral. So obviously, again, on one leg and then the other one. So the big question that comes when we're dealing with ACLRs is what type of tests or evaluations do we use to see if the work we're doing during our rehab is being, if there's any success in it. Is our athlete or is our patient getting better? And we need that objective information a lot of times, especially when I'm working out with professional football. I need that to show not just my patient or myself, but also, anybody who's asking me, like the coaches or my boss, hey, how are things looking? Is the person getting better? And this is something that we're always striving to find. So here I'm going to show one very simple example of the multiple ones you use. Here I'm using an app by one of my professors that I had during my master's in Madrid. His name is Carlos Barcelona. He has an app that he made, and in his app he has different eval tests that you can use. I'm just going to show one. Here we use the drop jump, as if you're not familiar with it, is you're dropping from the height of a box, you're landing over 1 foot, and then you have to jump right away as you hit the ground and then land again. So here we're gonna do it obviously with one leg and then the other leg, and we're gonna try to see the difference. Is there any difference between the one that didn't suffer the injury and the one that did suffer the injury? And if we look at this athlete that I'm currently working on, there's a 21.5% difference in the aspect of contact. How much contact, how much time is this person on the ground when they hit the ground after they get dropped from the box, and then they're able to reactively or very explosively jump off again from the ground and be able to land on that leg again. So we're kind of seeing that contact aspect. So what is this telling me? That the leg that did not suffer the injury is much more explosive. It's much more reactive than the one that did not. There's a big difference still here. There's a 21.5%. We're noticing that there's more contact time on the leg that suffered the injury. And when I was seeing the video, I have to look at these aspects as well. For example, what's going on with the foot of the person as they land? What's going on with how is the hip affected? Is there any pain? Is there a difference between neuromuscular activation? Where is she feeling this mostly? What's the position of her trunk? of her body. Is she leaning forward? Is she leaning back? Is she kind of just not really dropping as confident as one side to the other one? There's a psychological factor in this as well. So there's many factors is going to tell me in just one test if the person is ready. But here I'm just focusing on one thing, that contact aspect. How much time is she on the ground between one leg and the other one as she hits the ground from the first drop of the box? So again, as we see, there is a big difference between the one that did suffer the injury and the one that did not. There's a lot of work still needed to be done. Another aspect here to realize in this same test is the flight time. We can notice that the leg that is able to, be the one that didn't suffer the injury, she's able to jump higher. How? The flight time. She's able to stay in the air much longer than the one that did not. And we can still see there's a big difference between one and the other one. At the end of the day, we want to be as much as symmetrical as possible. Obviously, there's no 100% symmetry. We're not robots, we're human beings, and there's many different aspects, again, that can affect a type of movement. But we want to be able to have them as similar as possible, that the margin of error or margin of difference is very, very little. Obviously, that's going to reduce the risk of injury, and that is going to tell us if the person is able to have finally that clearance to be able to play that sport again. Okay, so with this, I just want to show a very simple example of the multiple things that you have, and it's not that expensive. You can do it through your phone, through the app that one of them, this guy, Carlos Barcelona, made. Obviously, if you have force plates or you have different other equipment that is much more expensive to get even more detailed or more direct or more close, data with not that much margin of error, that's awesome. But this is a simple way to do it. Not everybody has the capability of, of having the opportunity to have all those type of expensive equipment. So this is a simple way. You can have it on your phone. And I was just trying to show a very objective information that is telling me how much is there difference between one leg or the other one. And I'm seeing over here that there is still work to be needed. I mean, we're only here, around 4.5 months. We still have a long ways to go. But eventually we're going to keep doing these tests and see if there's any improvements. So with that being said, if you guys have any other tests that you guys use to see if the person is able to be cleared, it can come from, simple strength aspects to movement aspects, biomechanical aspects from, again, speed. It can come from strength. It can come from flexibility. It can come from the way the body is acting with a certain type of movement. How's the foot reacting? How's the hip reacting, etc. Anything you guys can share, that's awesome, because there's a lot to show when it comes down to ACL recovery or reconstructions. It is not a simple rehab, but I love doing this type of stuff. I think it's really, it's fun for me. It's kind of weird to say that, but it's kind of like, I know it's a lot of work, but there's a lot of stuff to do, and that's what I like about helping people recover from this type of injuries, and obviously helping them never having this type of issues again. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy this. Any info that you guys can share or put along with the stuff that I'm showing, much appreciated.